Hey there. So I was just looking at a movie and I felt inspired. And I was inspired by this topic that I'm about to talk about. It has nothing to do with the movie. But it just made me think about how when you need something right away, and if it's an emergency and it cannot wait, it can't be about where, everybody else has needs too, so you just have to wait. Yeah, but what if you can't wait? And that is why I'm getting to this thing right here about what if you really were your own God? Now, God can be used so many ways, but the way it's used in this particular reality is basically you're omnipresent, you're everything. God is everything. So, what if you were everything? Now, I just want to make it clear that the fact is we're not separate. The fact is we are one. So if you are one with everything, I do believe you are everything. I do believe you are God. But let me just say this though. Now, the fact that a lot of us aren't rooted in that belief is doesn't change it though. It doesn't change it. It just means that a lot of things that come in our life that might happen to us is because we didn't know we could control it. We didn't know we can give ourselves everything. Now I know let me get to the point though, then I'm gonna get to that part later. I started to say, when people get into prayers, and I'm not against other people's beliefs, people have every right to believe whatever they want to. But I want to say this particular part when a person is praying to God, okay? To the God in Christianity, to that God. I'm not criticizing Christianity, so I don't want to get on criticizing anybody. I'm saying that when people start praying to that God, what I hear a popular thing that a lot of people say is, God, I know you're busy. And God, I know that you have, I know you're busy, but I just have this one request. And then you might have some people respond that God has too much to do to be worried about you. Well, then why is that your God? Now, I'm not criticizing that God. The point I'm making is if you were your own God, you will always have time for yourself. Because when you finally realize, and me too, it needs to be cognized, not realized, it needs to be cognized. See, I'm already at the surface, I already know I'm one with everything. At the surface, I know that already. It's not deeply rooted. I'm going to be honest, it's not deeply rooted. And one person told me that, well, it's a process. If you were just to take one huge leap, then that would be like almost like a traumatic shock to your brain almost. It's like it's a process. You have to like go in little steps, right? So I'm getting grounded in these little steps to realizing that I am everything. I am one. Basically, if I'm one with everything, that I am God. What you call God, the way that God has kind of been used. Now, the way God has been used in other realities is basically a title. It's who's ever the ruler. So, say for example, whoever is the ruler of, say, Donald Trump. He's considered a god. Whether people like him or not, he is considered a god. He is in a lot of ways considered a ruler. So in some realities, God is just meant ruler, a leader. But in Christianity, God is something that's one, that's everything, it's all, it's omnipresent, it's omniscient. Okay. But that's also what you are. So wouldn't you be God? You know? Because if you say you're not everywhere all the time, then you're saying that you're separate from everything, and then that would be a lie. The truth is, you're one with everything. That will make you God. Once we finally get rooted into that fact, we will learn that we don't have to ask anybody else for anything, and we don't have to say, "Oh, I know you're busy, but I just have this one request." You don't have to wait on something that you perceive to be outside of yourself to give you something that you urgently need, that is urgent. And then, oh, well, God, didn't have time for me, or maybe God decided not to grant me that request. So you have to take the loss because this God decided not to grant your request. So you have to take that loss. But if you learn that you are a God to yourself, if you learn that you are everything, the same way this God has been called to be, that has been said to be everything, you are the same thing. And that's just the truth. That is the truth. You are everything. Okay? You exist in all times. You exist in all planes. You exist. Just like how they describe God of the Bible, right? That's you. That's me. And if I can really get rooted into that, I no longer need to keep waiting for this miracle or something to happen, because you can't help when something urgent happens in that you might really need something. You just can't wait. What if a person don't have time for you? See, that's when you learn to be a God to yourself, because there's no such thing. Everything is going to be right when it's supposed to happen. There will never be any lack, because you would be, everything would be where you, everything would be available to you, because you are everything. You are God. You are God. You know. So I just felt like talking about that, because maybe I need to say it for myself too. I might need to say this for myself too. But I got to get rooted into it. You know, I got to get rooted into that. Even though I know it on a surface level, I have to get rooted into it. When you are God, you can remove trauma. There's no more trauma. You can remove it. You can say, okay, that was an experience in this part of my life. This was an experience in this particular reality. Okay, great. Got it. Learn the lesson. I can remove it. Don't need to be there. I don't need to keep going to therapy and having all this stuff going on. And one thing I will not do is keep going back to people talking about the same thing over and over again, because you have other family members or friends or whoever that don't want to let stuff go. And they want to keep bringing you back to stuff that you're ready to let go of. That's the reason why I can't talk to my family right now. I'm ready to move forward to a new life. They're going to bring me backwards, because they are still in a lower type of consciousness. And what I mean by lower consciousness, a consciousness basically not even of separation, because you can still kind of have a consciousness of being separate, but then a part of you wants to move on in your life anyway, even though you have a consciousness of being separated. But they have old patterns that's stuck in them that includes my old life that I'm ready to move away from, so I got to let them go. Nothing against them. I just can't move forward revisiting old demons. You're trying to move forward and you keep revisiting old demons. You can't do it. Anyway, though, I just wanted to talk about that really quickly. Like, and then on top of you knowing that you're one, you still have to reprogram yourself, because if you dealt with some kind of dysfunctional family, or some kind of maybe a molestation or other kind of traumatic events in your life, it could have grounded you in self-hate. It doesn't mean you on a conscious level, you might not hate yourself on a conscious level, but it has created another side that you don't see, that is going to attack your other side. So you're going to attack yourself, right? You're going to attack yourself, because that has been another type of being that has been created, where you're going to attack yourself. So then excuse me, some reprogramming has to happen as well, you know. And if you're God, you can make that happen when you're rooted in knowing that you're God. And God, the way it's explained as omniscient, omnipresent, and you're all things, and you're all knowing, and you can do all things. I'm talking about that God, not the God of you're a ruler, you know, like you are a pharaoh. That's considered a God. That the pharaohs were considered a God, a ruler. Not that type of God. I'm talking about the God as the way it's explained in Christianity. You can be that God, because you are that God. We have to be aware of it. And we've been believing that we're separate from everything we need, that we have to continue manifesting. Well, if you realize that you're one, it's no manifesting that needs to happen. It's going to be easily at your fingertips. I don't like all that. Manifestation sometimes requires work. I don't want, if you're one, and you're grounded in the fact that you're one. And then you reprogram yourself of 100% unconditional self-love, and get rid of the other part of yourself that wants to fight yourself, from growing up or being around dysfunctional people and having a dysfunctional life and life full of trauma. Reprogram that and rewrite that into unconditional self-love. Then there's no manifestation that's going to happen. It's just going to be there. It's no manifestation. It's unnecessary. The work is unnecessary once you get grounded into that. Okay? So anyway, yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say. That's all I have to say. And yeah, just want to talk about, what if you were your own God? Would you have to wait on somebody else or something else to give this for you? Or are they going to be too busy? Will you be too busy for yourself? And with that said, I'll talk to you later.